Today's video of GO Rustic Design presents a vanity that we're using in our personal house. It ended up being about a 7.5 foot vanity with 2 bowl sinks on the top. So here I'm working on the sides. I use 1x10s, 3 1x10s, pocket hole them together. Also make sure you include the pocket holes for the sides to attach the legs and for the top, which will later be shown to show where you can pull down the tops, and you'll see me point out all the pocket holes here. But while I have a second, make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel. Really helps me out. Make sure you like the video and make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you know when I post videos. We have a lot more stuff to come. By the time that this video posts, our house will almost be completed. I'll have a house tour, have a new shop tour, and so on. So here you see me attaching the sides to the legs themselves. I chose to go 32-inch tall legs times 4. Make sure that they're flush with the inside there, so that later on when you put the drawer in that you don't have issue with that. But attach the pocket holes, and then when you get onto the frame portion, I end up using a 2-inch pocket hole here instead of the 1.25 inch, just to give me a little bit more grip in the back. But make sure you pay attention to the cut list, which is linked below. I put my bottom piece just where the bottom of that side was connected. Also, you attach those to the side, and you come back and do the same thing for the front, so that you know that they're all nice and even. After you get done with this step, you carry on to do the trim pieces. So the trim pieces, they're 3 inches wide, pocket hole together. Make sure that as you do all these steps that you're standing in between. I end up standing with the 320 just on the corners from where I use the table saw to rip them down. Which you can also buy 1x4s from the store. I just chose to rip down the 1x10s that I have. But here you see me attaching the trim pieces to the outside with 1.25 inch screws. There's an overlay of that. And then so this will be the piece. The drawers are 6 inches deep. So make sure you just put a little mark, 6 inches. Here again, pocket holes, and all these go to the inside of the front leg. I think here I put it on the outside. I end up correcting myself because you can see that's off. So that goes to the inside. There you go. And you see, like I said, that's spaced 6 inches apart from the top. That will be where your drawers sit, and then everything else below is cabinet. Once you get that put on, you need that same piece on the back side. But when you put the back side on, make sure that the bottom of this piece is where the top of the front drawer that you just put on, if that makes any sense. So it's going to be like, there's only going to be maybe like a 3-inch gap, so that when you mount your drawer slides, so that they're nice and straight. As you can see, the gap there is much smaller than the 6-inch gap on the front. I believe it's going to be right around 3. But make sure you just measure, do your math, make your marks, and when you put it in there. So here, I went with a 5-inch wide block so that I can run all my plumbing through the middle of the drawers. That was my biggest issue, trying to figure out how all the plumbing was going to run. And then continue with the face. Measure your distance between or how many cabinets you want. We chose to go with 3 cabinets. One big one in the middle that was open, 2 on the side, as you can see there. And then once you get the face complete, then you can go ahead and attach the, this are the drawer runners, as I call them. More pocket holes. Make sure that they're nice and flush with the corner of those. And then on the back side, I just used some 1.25 inch screws. You can do more pocket holes here if you wanted to. I just want to kind of give it a little bit more of some security. Here's a walk around of the steps that I've completed thus far. Pretty much, the drawers are done at that point, minus putting the slides in and the actual drawers themselves. So I went on to the bottom shelf. This is the separating in the middle. I put all my pocket holes to the inside so that you couldn't see them when facing the vanity. And also, this is the left and right bottom cabinet shelf. I just measured the rectangle that I needed, and then cut that pocket holes, pocket all that together. You could also put a little support under there, but I don't think the most my kids will put down there is, you know, some bottles of whatever, cream, toothbrush, toothpaste, and so on. So once you get all that done, so this is me working on the middle shelf. The middle shelf is really a bunch of pieces, and it's all been cut. It makes it a lot easier if you go ahead and stain this whole thing is stained special walnut. If you go ahead and stain all these little pieces, I went ahead and stained the whole thing kind of as I was going. I caught some breaks throughout the day, and I just came back and stained them and let them dry, so on. But once you get all those, make sure they're just, you know, kind of spaced evenly. You'll come back, slide that in. Mine was a little bit of a snug fit. Of course, that's what I wanted. Once you slide that in, you could also put some pocket holes to attach the front and the back. Probably, I don't know if it's needed. We're just going to put towels here. So there's not going to be there's virtually going to be not a lot of weight there at all. But once you get those pocket holed in, then you can flip the piece back over, and then you can move on to the back to the drawers to put the slides and the boxes in. So I just made a mark here. Or I put my drawer slides at the very top of those runners that we put, so that there's really not any measuring. You just have to measure the far left and the far right side. Once you get all the drawer slides put in, make sure that everything is nice and straight. Then you attach you find out how long it was. Mine were 18-inch boxes. Find the depth, the width, or how tall you want it. Slide those in, and then when you do the measure your distance in between the drawer, which I will try to. I also have a drawer video that's on my page. I'll try to link it to this page. This video will come out much later than what I'm here recording, but attaching the back, pocket holes, measure your distance, which I think in the description below I also told you how big the boxes each piece needs to be. So make sure you measure everything. Don't just go off my word. Make sure that you measure everything twice, cut once. So here I'm just adding the middles, the supports, running along to kind of help the top, help the bowls so they don't, you know, cave in after years. But and then once you get all that done, I was showing you the pocket holes here that I use to attach the top. But here is me actually making the top. It's pretty simple. Just use 1x8s. Ran them across my joiner, make sure they're all nice and straight so there's no middles. Pocket hold all those together, and then threw it back on the top. Use those pocket holes that I previously showed you and attach those. So here is me roughly showing you how I done the shaker doors. You can do these with a table saw. There's a lot of videos on the YouTube about how to make your own shaker doors. That's how I figured it out. With a table saw, you just have to make your groove in the middle, cut all your pieces, length and widths and whatnot. I chose to do a half inch inlay, I guess that's what it's called. The style. So everything here is I have to cut out 1/2 inch, you know, for the groove down the middle, because that's the depth, and then the actual size of that I use a 1/4 inch Luan, and I have a little scrap piece of Luan that I use to make sure the gap is right. Once you do that, then you have to measure each side as you've seen, and then that is the height that the table saw needs to be so that the middle piece is perfect. Like I said, there's a lot more videos on YouTube that explain that go in deeper detail. That's how I figured it out. And then once you do that, you get all those pieces cut. This is me cutting the 1/4 inch Luan. You can use the middle piece, the short piece, lay it down on the table saw, and then that's the size that the Luan needs to be. Here you see me actually putting together the shaker door. Mine was a little bit tighter than I generally like them to be, but you know what, they worked. So I used just Top Bond, just glue. Any kind of wood glue will work. Slide those in, slide the middle piece in. Like I said, this could be any kind of material that you want it to be. And then once you do that, you can put more glue in the two longer sides, connect all those together. Make sure at the end that everything's nice and sanded, everything is together as it is. Make sure it's clamped, make sure everything's square, or else it really throws you off in the end. I end up coming back and fixing a few things on mine once I realized that something was off or whatnot. But just hear me just clamping that together to apply some pressure. You could probably get away with just some regular clamps, but I have some cabinet clamps in my shop. Once you get those done, you can stain everything. Like I said, make sure everything's sanded and stained. I bought a cabinet face jig that you can attach so you can get the holes for the handles lined up. All that's linked below. Also, the cabinet hidden hinge soft close is what this jig is. It's made by Craig. It's also a link below. Extremely really super easy to do. I make sure that I put the edge of the Craig jig on the outside, as you can see, just so I don't have to measure anything later. And then I come back, I drill the hole for the main hinge, and then for the two little, that's where the screws will go. There's more videos on YouTube about how to do that as well. That's how I learned. But once you put those in, your doors are practically done, and then you can mount your door after this step. These screws came with the hinges that I bought. Once you get those attached, there's longer screws that come in there that you can add to attach the doors. Once you get all those in, then you can come back and attach the handle. So once the handle's on all the doors, then you know that you're done. So all the doors are done, the whole piece is done. I think it came out absolutely beautiful. Drop me a comment below how you think it turned out. I said it's one of my favorite pieces I've done to date. And then, like I said, once this step is done, the whole thing's done. I came back, I did put some spar urethane over the top, which is not in this video, but I did put some urethane over the top. 2 coats just to kind of give it a, max protection from the kids splashing whatnot out. The actual sink bowls. Forgot about those. So the sink bowls, where I put the holes, or in the description below, 2 holes lined up evenly. So there you go. Vanity's done. Looks good. You see my plumbing run through those 2 little spots. Thank y'all for watching.